We welcome our viewers all over the world to our educational channel. Ebola, that severe, often fatal disease in humans, is in the news again. In this video entitled Ebola Destroyer of Lives, we provide our viewers information about this deadly disease. Please note this video is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. In this video, we'll take you through the history of Ebola, beginning with the first outbreaks in 1976 in Sudan, now South Sudan, and Zaire, now Democratic Republic of the Congo. We'll look at how the virus was discovered and named, and the tragic index cases, including Christian healthcare missionaries and healthcare workers who gave their lives in the service of humanity. You'll learn what Ebola virus disease is, the different species of the virus, and how it affects the human body. We'll explain how Ebola spreads and walk through the symptoms, from early warning signs to severe complications. We'll revisit the 2014 outbreak in Nigeria and the extraordinary sacrifice of healthcare workers who helped contain the disease. Finally, we'll review today's progress in treatment and prevention, including vaccines and promising new therapies. Here are useful resources about Ebola disease from trusted health agencies, including the US Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the World Health Organization. We encourage our viewers to explore these links for more detailed information. Please consult your healthcare provider for additional information. Ebola virus disease is in the news again. In September 2025, the Democratic Republic of Congo declared a new Ebola outbreak in Kasai province, reporting 28 suspected cases and 15 deaths, including 4 healthcare workers. The outbreak involves the Zaire strain, traced back to a 34-year-old pregnant woman identified as the index case, who died with hemorrhagic symptoms and organ failure. More than 80% of all Ebola virus disease outbreaks, 34 out of 42, have occurred in Africa. The 2014 to 2016 West Africa Ebola outbreak was the 7th and the largest outbreak since the virus was discovered. The outbreak began in Guinea and spread rapidly to Sierra Leone and Liberia. By August 2014, the World Health Organization declared it a public health emergency of international concern. The epidemic eventually reached 7 more countries: Italy, Mali, Nigeria, Senegal, Spain, the United Kingdom, and the United States of America. Secondary infections occurred in Italy, Mali, Nigeria, and USA. In total, more than 28,600 people were infected, and 11,325 people lost their lives before the outbreak was declared over by the World Health Organization in June 2016. Let us start from the beginning. In June 1976, doctors in Nzara, Sudan, now South Sudan, noticed a cluster of workers from a cotton factory dying from a mysterious illness. Patients had fever, weakness, bleeding, and high fatality. Around 284 cases and over 150 deaths were reported. Local health authorities reported the outbreak to the World Health Organization, that then sent samples to reference labs in Europe. In August 1976, another outbreak appeared in Yambuku, Zaire, now Democratic Republic of Congo. On 22 August 1976, Mabalo Lokola, a 42-year-old headmaster from Yandongi village, Bumba Zone, Equateur region, in northern Zaire, returned from a trip during which he purchased antelope and smoked monkey meat. 4 days later, he developed fever and chills and was treated at Yambuku Mission Hospital for presumed malaria with chloroquine injections initially with some relief. Within a week, his fever returned with severe headache, muscle pain, abdominal complaints, and intestinal bleeding. He died on 6 September with a hemorrhagic syndrome of unknown cause. The reuse of unsterilized needles at the hospital led to rapid spread among patients and staff, resulting in about 318 cases and 280 deaths. The Belgian Institute of Tropical Medicine and the US CDC were alerted and dispatched teams to investigate. The US Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's Special Pathogens Branch, newly established to deal with exotic viruses, received blood samples from patients. Scientists working there at the time, including the late Dr. Karl Johnson and Dr. Breman, worked with Belgian microbiologist Piot and colleagues. Electron microscopy showed a filamentous virus, related to but distinct from Marburg virus, discovered in 1967. Ebola is caused by viruses belonging to the ortho-Ebola virus genus of the Filoviridae family. The virus was named after the Ebola River in northern Zaire, close to the outbreak site. To date, 6 species have been identified, but only 3 are known to cause large outbreaks in humans. These are Ebola virus, which causes Ebola virus disease, Sudan virus, which causes Sudan virus disease, and Bundibugyo virus, which causes Bundibugyo virus disease. Here we see a recurring theme. In the 1976 outbreaks in Sudan and Zaire. In addition to the local population, Christian healthcare missionaries were among the first casualties, as we also noted in our earlier video on Lassa fever, which we encourage our viewers to watch. On this channel, we remain committed to honoring the heroism and selfless sacrifice of Christian healthcare missionaries, healthcare personnel, scientists, and lay people who gave their lives in the service of delivering healthcare. Their memory will endure, and their contributions will never be forgotten. Amen. For our viewers, the 1976 reports of the International Commissions on Ebola hemorrhagic fever in Sudan and Zaire are shown on your screen. We encourage you to read the full reports, which are available on the US CDC website at the link provided. We also encourage our viewers to read the publication by Joel G. Breman and co-authors in the Journal of Infectious Diseases published in 2016, titled Discovery and Description of Ebola Zaire Virus in 1976 and Relevance to the West African Epidemic during 2013 to 2016. It offers important historical background on the first outbreak in 1976 and its connection to later epidemics. The link to the publication is on your screen. Ebola is thought to originate from fruit bats, with transmission to humans through contact with bats or other wildlife such as chimpanzees, gorillas, monkeys, antelope, or porcupines. Once in humans, it spreads through direct contact with the blood or body fluids of the sick or deceased, or with contaminated objects. Healthcare workers face high risk without strict precautions, and traditional burial practices have often fueled outbreaks. The incubation period of Ebola disease ranges from 2 to 21 days. Common early symptoms are muscle pain, headache, sore throat, fever, fatigue, and general malaise. As the disease progresses, patients may develop vomiting, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. A rash can appear, and kidney and liver function may become impaired. These changes are important warning signs for healthcare workers. Bleeding is less common but can occur later in the illness. This may include internal bleeding, blood in vomit or stool, bleeding from the nose, gums, and at injection sites. Ebola can also affect the brain, leading to confusion, irritability, or even aggression. Ebola virus disease is confirmed with specialized laboratory tests. The gold standard is the reverse transcriptase polymerase chain reaction test, which detects the virus's genetic material. Enzyme-linked immunosorbent assay tests can identify antibodies, showing past or current exposure. Antigen detection tests are used for rapid screening by finding Ebola proteins. In research settings, the virus can also be isolated in cell culture, though this is not routine for diagnosis. Regarding prevention and protection, avoid travel to an area with an ongoing outbreak of Ebola virus disease. Avoid contact with body fluids from sick people, those who have died, contaminated items like clothing, bedding, needles, or from wildlife such as bats, monkeys, and forest antelopes. Ebola can also remain in semen after recovery. Use protective equipment if you must care for someone who is ill or handle materials possibly contaminated with their blood or body fluids. Monitor your health. If you've been in an outbreak area, watch for symptoms for 21 days and seek medical help immediately if they appear. Please consult with your healthcare provider for additional information. The US CDC website provides up-to-date information on FDA-approved treatments for Ebola. We encourage our viewers to visit the site and consult their healthcare provider for further guidance. In addition, patients with Ebola have a better chance of survival when they get fluids to stay hydrated, medicines to ease symptoms, and treatment for any other infections. There have been advances since Ebola was initially reported. In the early years, diagnosing Ebola was extremely difficult. Today, reliable PCR-based tests and rapid diagnostic kits make detection faster and more accurate. Treatment was once limited to supportive care alone, but new therapies have now been approved, giving patients a better chance of survival. Since 2018, an effective vaccine has also been developed and successfully used to protect communities during outbreak responses. Our viewers are encouraged to consult with their healthcare provider for additional information. Before we conclude, let us revisit the 2014 to 2016 West African outbreak and its impact on Nigeria, then a country of 180 million people. Ebola reached Lagos, Nigeria in 2014, when Patrick Sawyer, a Liberian American, arrived already ill. The attending physician, Dr. Ameyo Stella Adadevoh, recognized the signs of Ebola and quarantined him against his wishes, preventing what could have been a national catastrophe. Tragically, she contracted the virus while treating him and died on August 19, 2014. She is remembered as a national heroine, and her courage, sacrifice, and legacy continue to inspire generations in Nigeria and around the world. Several healthcare workers gave their lives during Nigeria's Ebola outbreak. Nurse Justina Ejilonu, newly employed and pregnant, died after caring for Patrick Sawyer. Nurse Obi Justina was also infected. In Port Harcourt, Dr. Ike Enemur contracted Ebola after treating an ECOWAS diplomat linked to Sawyer, and Nurse Kelechi, who cared for him, was infected as well. Their courage and sacrifice remain a lasting reminder of the dangers faced by frontline workers and the lives they helped protect. The learning objectives have been met. We hope you enjoyed this video presentation. If you found this presentation informative and educational, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing and sharing with family members, friends, and colleagues. Your support helps us create more informative and educational content. Until next time, stay strong, stay hopeful. This has been a presentation of Apomolero Media LLC.